up, we're thrilled to spotlight the voices of Colorado's own students, the learners who are living the reality of today's classrooms and shaping the future of open education right here in our host state. Guiding today's conversation is our facilitator and board member, Pranjal, who is vice chair of the conference board and manager of the Open Education Lab at Ontario Tech University. Please join me in giving a very, very warm welcome to Pranjal and our amazing student panelists from across Colorado.
Hello? Hello?
I think it is.
Hello? Can everyone hear me? Fine. Yes. Yes? Okay. All right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure everyone can hear me. Thank you, Aisha, for such a wonderful welcome. And hi, everyone. My name is Pranjal Saloni. I am coming from Toronto, Canada. I work at Ontario Tech University, which is located in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. And I manage the Open Education Lab, which means that my full-time job is working with our Ontario Tech undergraduate students who are every day helping us curate, create, and publish OERs for our faculty and our students at Ontario Tech. So as you can tell, I'm very excited to hear from our local Colorado students. This panel is a chance to hear directly from students about how open educational resources and practices have influenced their academic journeys within the higher education landscape of today. Their perspectives bring to life the real impact of the work we're all here to advance. So thank you again to the three of you for joining. Without further ado, let's hear from our amazing panelists themselves. First, I'd like to ask each of them to briefly introduce themselves and share how they're involved with open education. So starting with Sebastian here.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sebastian Beretta. Thank you for having me here, especially, and these two companions. I am a business student from Colorado Northwestern Community College, like it has been mentioned before. I am a resident assistant there as well. I am a treasurer in our Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society chapter. I'm also a goalkeeper and a team captain for our men's soccer team. How I got involved with open education was through Phi Theta Kappa. I mean, that's as soon as I joined and became the treasurer, I learned how access and affordability impacts every student, especially at a community college like ours.
Hello everyone, my name is Franklin Ade. I am a graduate student studying applied statistics and research methods at the University of Northern Colorado. I also serve on the Affordable and Open Educational Resource Committee at UNC. I work as a graduate assistant with the graduate school, and I also serve on the OER committee. I am an international student from Ghana, and I believe strongly that open education isn't only about free textbooks, but also it's about how we students get to bring up our ideas to support the faculty in building open education. And I'm so happy to be on the panel today.
Hi everyone, my name is Antonio Tasaico, or I like to go by Tony, and I'm from a couple blocks down at the wonderful CU Denver, is where I'm focusing on secondary education in mathematics with an emphasis on applied mathematics. And I'm lucky enough to be here today just to immerse myself with the other panelists and talk about open education, because I see both ends of the spectrum as a learner and as an educator, so it's very important to me. And I work at the university as an LA, which is an amazing role for students to immerse themselves into an education role at the university, and also devoted my time at the Aurora Public School District as a student teacher, and yeah, just really happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you all. It's so wonderful to see all the wonderful work that the three of you are doing at such a young age. So very proud. I'm sure everyone here can say the same. So now I've got a couple questions for you guys, and the first one is, what are some of the pressing current issues facing students today, and how can open education help create a path towards a more equitable and sustainable education system? And any of you can go first. There's no particular order we have to follow.
All right. I think the biggest issue, or biggest struggle recently of what I've heard from my peers is definitely affordability, access, and just that. As a community college, many people have jobs, and many people have families at home and still want to get their higher education. So just having this OER and OpenStax and all this, they don't have to worry about a textbook cost, and it's just one barrier that's basically eliminated.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, I'll also go next. So I believe most of the students are facing challenges now concerning the rising prices of living costs, and also about mental health issues and the digitalized challenges. These are some of the challenges we are facing now, and then if we include things like textbook cost is going to be a very big problem. So OER is here to help us all to be able to cut down these costs, and with my university, we've realized a lot of improvements and a lot of good things that OER has done for us, and we are happy to be part of this whole OER movement.
Thank you.
I would say a lot of representation could be like a little bit of an issue currently going on, and just that's welcoming and a sense of belonging in a community or just any type of environment. Doesn't have to be educational, but that's what comes to my mind. It's just a lot of, as a first generation student, as a person of color, I believe that there's a lot that we could do, and we are currently doing, which I find appreciative, and our actions and our decisions, they matter. And I wouldn't be here today if the educators in my life didn't make an impact for it. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful responses, and I really love the fact that you mentioned representation, because that's a big one. And I think some of the challenges that you've mentioned are real world challenges that our students are facing, and it's so nice that not just all of us in the room who've been in the education field for a while, but you students are taking a step forward towards that. So thank you again. How can the people in this room best support students who are doing this work? Maybe we can switch up the order. Tony, would you like to go first?
Can you say it again? I was like, can you say the question again?
Yes, of course. How can the people in this room best support students who are doing this work?
I would just say, please continue to be authentic. Like a lot of today, we're just more accustomed to like systems, or don't get me started on AI, but there's a lot of resources that we like to get comfortable with, and the sources similar to AI, they kind of remove that authenticity that us educators bring to the table or to the classroom. And I feel like if we present ourselves in authentic ways that make our students interested in subjects or just have that passion for education in general, I believe that would make us make students more passionate about being in education and being in school. So yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I think everyone here, including the librarians, the faculty, everyone involved, we students would like to be part of everything you are creating with OER. So whenever you are creating, we would like to be on board so that we'll be part of what we are learning. Secondly, I think we would also like to be recognized when we get involved in all of these. And then lastly, I would say that we would want OER to be global, with the perspective of coming from Ghana. would like OER to collaborate with other regions so that OER wouldn't be for only one particular region but for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Franklina. That was great. Both of you mentioned a couple of things that I do want to talk a little bit more about, but especially you mentioning, not sticking to one region is a big one. I think OERs are all about, sharing it with the rest of the world. So thank you again. That was a great point. And Sebastian.
I would say, to add to what both my teammates have said, I think the biggest thing is working as a team, right? I mean, I am involved in sports quite a bit, so you could see the higher education people as a coach and students as players, right? Which I believe it's a good way to go about it. I say, just I think what defines a good coach is being open to what the players, students, feedback is and what they want to see and what they want to shape this into. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing, as well as, I lost my train of thought, sorry. When us students, I believe, if we have an input in something and we see that we are making a change or affecting an environment for the better, I think that just is a motivation for us students to keep putting that effort, keep putting that input, and keep being involved in stuff like this and just having our voice be heard. Yeah.
Thank you. I love the comparison you've made with sports and what we do here. I think it was Franklina, you had also mentioned, I think, and you too, both of you, around the lines of, working as a team and keeping our perspectives in mind. And I think that's such a great point, because a lot of times we do such great work and we do it for our students, and sometimes we forget that student voices also matter. So just keeping that in mind, I think moving forward would be great. Tony, you had also mentioned AI at some point, so I've got one leading question with that. As students, of course, as faculties and librarians, we see AI, with a different lens. But as students, how do you think AI fits with the OER movement, and how can we, I guess, benefit from AI when it comes to the curation, creation, and publications of OERs?
Yeah, I would say AI can be a funny resource. It just depends on how well we're using it and just the intentions behind it. I wouldn't necessarily try to rely too much on AI just because there's like issues with accuracy, there's data, there's the privacy, security reasons. But with the free source, like we look at Gemini, ChatGPT, other resources that are free, they do offer a little bit of help for students that I would say is beneficial for either studying, getting like note cards really quickly, doing a plan, something really quick and simple, but we also don't want to steer away from that too much, in my opinion, because it just kind of hurts. It doesn't necessarily benefit them in the long run.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Obviously, in my opinion, this AI and whole situation, ChatGPT, and like he has mentioned, it's a very, very new thing, right? It can be used for pretty good stuff. I mean, learning and creativity-wise, it can be pretty impactful. But in the same way, if you look at the other end, it's just so, to an extent, so easy to use, and some students do feel like it's just pretty easy to use, so they just go ahead and kind of become lazy with it. But in the end, it's just like any other source. If you're trying to find a primary or secondary source, you have to put a pretty good amount of time and research into it just to make sure it is pretty credible.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Thank you, Sebastian.
So when it comes to AI, it has its good parts and then it has its bad parts. So mostly with the good parts, we are all enjoying what ChatGPT and other resources are providing for us. The issue that I think when it comes to AI that I particularly have is that where they are getting their resources from it tends to be biased sometimes because of how the information are being, or the algorithm try to get the information. And also with how it works, I believe, trying to remember something. With ChatGPT, with all the information that it gives us, we would want to also know where the information is coming from. When we compare that with open educational resources, which is free, that we are getting all this information, we know who and how these resources are being made. Would also like to be involved in how these resources are being generated so that it doesn't tend to be biased or any other thing. Thank you.
That's wonderful. And I think all of you brought out a great point that AI is there, it exists. You know, we can't really get rid of it. So why not utilize it for our benefits and not, just be smart about it. I'd like to take some time to call in our virtual participants to see if they've got any questions for the students.
All right, so we have a couple questions online in Zoom. So one question we have is from Amanda Gray, who said, "It's wonderful how active you guys all are, but how do we reach students who are disengaged or focused on their studies, busy with school, working, or are just overwhelmed?"
I find that question interesting because I kind of put myself in that situation, I'm not gonna lie. I'm currently doing a lot at the moment, even though I'm only enrolled in 3 classes as an undergraduate at CU Denver. However, I feel like I have little to no time to kind of explore or go to events. However, I'm here today. Like, it's a lot of time for this, and I'm very thankful. But if there's one thing that I realized that helped me be here today was make connections with those that have like the same passion as you. If it weren't for my passion for education and as well as mathematics, I wouldn't have the opportunity to talk about OER and discuss it with one of my professors, the tenure professors at CU Denver, and he elaborated on how it doesn't have to be a full devotion. It can be a hobby for some, but it could just be a little thing, just a couple hours a week or maybe a month, but as long as you stay devoted to at least one thing, then you can carry that out. And I would just like to emphasize how much connections can get you.
I love that answer. Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add on to?
I'll add a bit. Obviously, as students, I would tend to be pretty busy and all this and that, but I feel like motivation is something that is very interpersonal, right? It's hard to motivate someone else, but I think what everybody does enjoy is just hobbies. Everybody has hobbies, everybody has passion for something, and if you're able to find that out and find what they're passionate for, I think it's pretty easy to get someone to enroll, right? Especially for many people, as they tend to be open-minded about topics, they will get out there and make connections, network, and I think it's just get the right passion and they'll reach out.
All right, so as all of my colleagues have said about passion and then being dedicated to something, I'd also add that you'd have to also learn how to manage your time and then know how to draw your schedules to be able to fit in other things. If you are not passionate about it, you probably wouldn't want to do anything about it, and then don't put that on yourself. Just follow what you are passionate about and then create time for it, and I believe you'll be able to do it.
Awesome. I love that. I think you're all right. I think at the end of the day, if you're passionate about something, you're going to find the time for it, right? So amazing. I believe we had a couple more questions from our virtual audience.
Next question we have is, how can we better include the student's perspective and student voices as we create OER/ZTC content?
One thing I would say is, obviously I think this is one thing that would be very college-wise, I believe. Obviously, you have a lot of student government in plenty of colleges. You have a lot of honor society as well. So I think the best thing to do is have those students who do want to be involved and do want to reach out and make an impact and have an impact in these sort of things, reach out to their honor society, their student government, and as they pitch out ideas, put stuff out there, I think the higher-ups within that community college, that university, can then put a pretty good idea to OpenStack's OER and higher education as well.
Great, thank you.
So I would say that with that, I have a professor who would ask for feedback with their open resources. Then the feedback we give back to them, they are able to work around it, around what we have given them. So whatever they are providing for us is what we are happy to learn from, and then we see ourselves in what we are learning. So I think that is a way, the feedback is a very good way that you can get the voices of the students in OpenEd too.
Yeah, I like what you said, because a lot that goes into it is what are our peers or our higher-ups thinking of ourselves, like in the sense of enriching their voices. I think that's very important for us as educators, as faculty, as librarians, as adults in general. We should be able to encourage students, children, and all types of people to encourage them to branch out and have their voices heard and kind of be passionate about something so important such as education, or if it's government, or if it's other resources or topics that they find interesting. I feel like that's very important. And yeah, just making sure we're an advocate for our students so they can be advocates for us. I would love that.
Yeah, I love that. I think, again, you guys do such great job, and you know, even if we take a little part of what you do and incorporate that into our OERs, it can you know, it can bring a great impact. At Ontario Tech, we take student assignments, we create them into OERs, and that's worked really well for us as well. Do we have more virtual questions? If not, then maybe we can get to some in-person questions.
So we are at time, but I do have one last takeaway question. If there is one thing you want the audience to walk away with from this conversation, what would it be?
I would say my biggest thing, and I apply this very personally thing, is just authenticity is the biggest thing. So staying true to yourself, staying true to your values, who you are, I think is my biggest thing. I believe if you do stay true to who you are, what you want to represent, everything else is just going to fall into place just like that. So, yeah.
That's great.
So one thing that I would like everyone to take away with during this conversation is that we students really want to get involved in OER, and then we would want the faculty to collaborate more with us when they are doing their OER. And also I would also like that we also collaborate with other regions to make OER not to only one particular region.
I like that answer. That's a good answer as well. She took it from me. I would just like to reiterate how much or how thankful I am for everybody here, and for those that couldn't attend, or just educators throughout. I'm very thankful for what we're doing, although it's a tight subject to just be an educator, just be an advocate for our students. It's a challenging one, and I want to commend all of you that are so much mature than me, and I know I'm just starting out on my journey, but I want to recognize how much you're doing, and you're making an impact, because we're all here today because we've all had an impact from an educator just like you. So to keep being passionate and just stay strong. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Barely, I know, but yeah, I just very thankful for educators. Thank you.
well, thank you everyone. Thank you again. That's all the time we have for today. Can we again get a round of applause for these fantastic students?